Hello dear traders, you're watching the weekly review of financial markets with me, Anna Kasatkina. The US stocks bounced back from deep losses but still closed lower on Friday after reports that trade talks between China and the US have stalled. The US stocks started last week with a massive sell-off on Monday. Wall Street followed up those losses with straight days of gains at the end of the week. However, those gains were not enough to stave off weekly losses. The Nasdaq Composite declined by 81.76 points to 7,816.28. Over the week, the Nasdaq dropped by 1.3%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slid by 98.68 points to 25,764. The Dow shed by 0.7% for the week, bringing its weekly losing streak to 4, the longest since May 2016. The S&P 500 index lost 16.79 points and settled at 2,859.53. The S&P 500 fell by 0.8% on the week. Chinese state media took aim at the Trump administration's decision to put Chinese tech giant Huawei Technologies on a list of entities that are working contrary to the U.S. interests, which could result in the U.S. companies needing to secure special permits to sell the company chips it relies on for end products. Meanwhile, the US and Canada on Friday said they reached a deal to end tariffs imposed by Washington on aluminium and steel products from Canada, while Canada will remove all retaliatory tariffs. In corporate news, shares of Pinterest Incorporated sank by 14% to 26.70 after the social media company announced first quarter losses of $41.4 million, which were 3 times as large as analysts had expected. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise shares rose 0.6% after the company announced a deal to buy supercomputer manufacturer Cray for $1.3 billion. Cray shares soared by 23%. Shares of Deere & Company fell 7.7% after the agricultural construction and turf care equipment maker reported fiscal second quarter earnings that missed expectations and provided a downbeat outlook. Nvidia shares slid by 2.3% after the semiconductor firm reported earnings that beat severely lowered expectations for the first quarter. Nvidia, however, declined to reiterate a full-year forecast, while indicating that demand for the data center market remains weak. That's all for now. You've watched a weekly financial review on Insta TV. Stay tuned.